we're almost at the end of the year and heading towards a new year. But whether you watch this at the end of the year or any time during the year, we tend to schedule, plan, especially as the new year comes, create planners, make resolutions, and create endless elaborate plans for the future. Well, you know that I'm all about simplicity as well as creating words that actually will help you move forward. So consider this the anti-planner, the anti-scheduling, because one thing's for sure, when we get overwhelmed with plans, we get bogged down and we never follow through, which then in of itself becomes kind of downer, because we feel like, oh, we didn't follow through. So let's make it very different with the word of the year. Now, I bet you have heard of the word of the year, or maybe it's new to you. And those of you who are busy doing vision boards, nothing wrong with it, but perhaps the word of the year is much more interesting and complex than it may seem at the first glance. First of all, let's make it even more specific. Since I talk a lot about wealth creation and I find it so important, especially for women, business owners, let's call it the money word of the year. But it can be any area that interests you, such as freedom word of the year, or self-care word of the year, or whichever you prefer, but we stick for the purpose of this class or this talk to money word of the year. Secret number 1, let the word choose you, because sometimes again we overthink and we wonder, what is just the right word that could be our marching order, our motto for the year. Sometimes first thought is best thought. I give you a couple of words that people have used successfully. Focus, and more about that on our second secret, hang on. Or up level, or freedom. So the second secret is that the word doesn't necessarily have to directly at first glance relate to money or, let's say, self-care, because it's kind of like a mind map. Our brain creates all kinds of connections, verbal connections, that come back to this. For instance, focus. It can be that in years past you have frizzled out your energy, you have listened to this coach and that coach, bought this program and that program, followed this direction and that advice, and each would be valuable in and of itself, but unless you focus and laser beam on one racehorse, some people have called it their racehorse for the year, all that energy is fizzled. So it's, for instance, with focus, it can be a word that doesn't seem immediately related to finances, but it will have the repercussions of finances. Of course, I have the prosperity personality assessment, and these personalities can make amazing money words of the year. For instance, the alchemist. The alchemist can be a great word of the year if you want to think outside the box and see ways of making money that are not necessarily the most logical ways of making money. So that's another great way of finding a word, or the connector. Connectors often make money through connections. If you're more interested in exploring those 8 prosperity personalities, there is a link for an assessment. And each of the prosperity personalities has their own money, love, language that is particularly conducive to communicating with yourself about money and with others. But for now, let's just keep it open that any kind of word that relates to your focus, whether it be or to your main area of interest or goals, whether it be money making, wealth creation, more freedom, more self-care, use any word that comes to mind. Instead of just waiting for inspiration, I would write down 10 words and then circle one and not even think much further, instead of being critical, overcritical, which is probably one of the ways you hold yourself back. It's a big guidepost, a big red flag that's probably one of the reasons that holds you back. So as you do that, you will automatically stumble upon some of your weaknesses, such as overthinking, such as being overcritical with yourself, such as doubting. So just go straight through it, maybe write 10 words down that come to mind, read over it and circle one, and that's your word of the year. Hang on, there's more. And we're just getting started, because the interesting thing is the word of the year cuts through a lot of your blocks, including, have you ever wanted to do something and then all of a sudden something else popped into mind and you had to do that? And getting busy is a way of procrastinating. So the money word of the year, or your word of the year, cuts through that as well, because it forces you in a pleasurable way to just keep your eyes on the prize and not be frizzled off and frazzled off into all kinds of direction. Another secret is that, secret number 2 or 3, is that there's energy and emotion connected to that word. You see, we interpret a word differently. It means something differently to different people. Have you ever read a poem and it means something to you one time, and years later you read it again and it means something else? Or seen a movie and each time you see it differently. So the word is important, but what's much more important is the energy, the emotion, the perception that's behind that word. And that is very rich and layered. And again, it's a way of focusing, laser focusing all your energies into one direction, instead of being frazzled out by schedules, plans, planners. Everyone is into buying planners for the new year, and then tend to just have them lay around and not use them. But with the word of the year, it cuts through all of that, while at the same time, while it simplifies, it also adds layers of emotion and energy that's unique to you. For instance, the alchemist, if that would be a word you use, can mean, in a less positive way, just hoping for the best. But in a more interesting way, the alchemist is someone who creates money and opportunities, is open to seeing what they haven't seen before. That would be one interpretation of the alchemist. Or whichever word you use, it's unique to you, specific to you. So it's both focused and in depth, specific to your particular needs, emotions, and the resonance it carries, the energetic resonance it carries, and you can refer to it throughout the year. Secret number 6. The word of the year helps you release what no longer serves you. Well, how does that happen? For one, because it forces you to release of the FOMO, fear of missing out, because you automatically cut off the fat, the unimportant things, the things that keep distracting you from what you really want. And you can let it go with ease because you already know where your priority is. The word of the year holds you to your commitment. And commitment is perhaps one of the great secrets to success. So to accomplish that, don't change the word mid through January or halfway through the year. Choose the word, and once you choose it, trust that it's the right word, that it guides you. And trusting is also a way of trusting yourself and trusting that there are layers to this word that reveals itself almost like a tulip that unfolds throughout the year. So this commitment that the word of the year kind of channels our energies to, we are committed to one word, one focus, also allows us to foster trust in ourselves. Instead of doubting, wavering in where we should go, we learn to trust our intuition, our guidance, that the word is the correct one, and that the word unfolds as the year goes on, unfolds all the layers that are hidden underneath it. So there's a sense of true trust into yourself and commitment and releasing that which doesn't fit in either the trust or commitment that you have placed in yourself. And there's a final secret, secret number 7, and that is the word of the year helps you make decisions. It guides your decisions, helps you create new habits, and shapes your actions, because it's a guiding light, if you will, that guides and channels all your decisions, habits, and actions throughout the year. So there's clarity, confidence, and commitment. As a special gift, I've created a free guide for you to help you create your word of the year, a guide and checklist to help you create yours with confidence and stick to it. And there's a link in the show notes I leave so you can download your free guide for the word of the year. So to recap our 7 secrets of the word of the year. The first one is let the word choose you. Don't overthink, don't criticize, don't doubt. Select 10, write down 10, select 1 and stick to it. Secret number 2, that word doesn't have to at first glance directly relate to your goal, whether your goal is money and wealth, freedom, self-care, love, whichever it is. Choose the word, and if it's money, you don't have to use a finance word such as saving, you can, but it can be another word that resonates deeply with you. And that leads us to secret number 3, because the word carries energy and emotion that is unique to you. And there is so much richness in that. If you have ever done a mind map, you have one word in the middle, and then as you spike out, all kinds of mind associations come with that word. So the word of the year has that resonance of a depth of emotion and energy that is unique to you. You could even daily journal on your word of the year to mine and excavate the richness that it holds for you and your transformation and your up level. Number 5, the word of the year will reveal your blocks that you are most likely to stumble upon time and time again, such as second guessing yourself, doubting yourself, being distracted, being overwhelmed, all that falls by the wayside as you focus on the word of the year. It shows you your blocks, but it also frees you of your blocks as you make this commitment to the word of the year. Secret number 6, it helps you release what is no longer needed. It helps you release the FOMO, fear of missing out, putting your energy in this or that, or being distracted by old goals that no longer hold that emotional resonance with you, but kind of bog you down, keep you back, hold you back. It releases you from these things that no longer serve you. Secret number 7, the word of the year shapes your decisions, gives you a road, a pathway to move forward, and helps you create new habits, all conducive with the word of the year. Unless you think it's boring just to have one word of the year, which I probably would, it's quite on the contrary. Instead of boring, it releases that which is no longer needed, and it goes in depths. It kind of mines the depths of your unconscious and all the treasures this word holds for you. So again, this is a bonus tip. Perhaps journal on it every month or every day on what this word of the year means to you in a particular situation. And again, there's a special gift for you I have prepared, which is a guide you can download for free that guides you to your word of the year or money word of the year, a guide and a checklist to get you started, to get you into commitment, and to get you into action without being frazzled by endless schedules, planners, and New Year's resolutions. I think the word of the year is an amazing way to move forward as we move into the new year, or any time you really want to free yourself of some of the things that have been holding you back and the blocks you may have run into, and moving forward. And if you want to know more about your personality and your prosperity personality and the money love language they speak, there's an ebook I have written that goes in great detail that you can use as an auxiliary, as a help throughout the year. As you use the word of the year, you can also go through this ebook about the money love languages that each prosperity personality speaks. It frees you to focus on your strengths and let go of your weaknesses or kicking against your weaknesses. It frees you from your blocks, and it helps you communicate better with yourself as well as partners, be that business partners or romantic partners. So the word of the year is the overarching bridge, but the ebook will help you in detail in specific situations that you might find yourself as you find out what money love language your prosperity personality speaks and is fluent in. I see you in the new year.